Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, these Kinder Surprises, we're not going to do anymore, okay? Kinder Surprises are finished because I'm on a diet now. I don't want no more Kinder Surprise. Just calm it down. Today's video is going to be based on this flex position because I've had a few questions asked, okay? Especially on the Richmond forum where all my good friends are. Well, I got good friends everywhere. Just calm it down. But on the Richmond forum anyway, a young man by the name of Peter, okay? Now, I'm not going to mention his surname in case people start chasing him down the streets. But a young boy by the name of Peter, he's a very good young man. Now, he asked me, he said to me, what's this flex thing? It's bugging him, okay? And it's just, he can't sleep at night. What's this all about? And then I see other people mention that if, for example, Smith doesn't score well here, does the flex have to be a defender? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to answer all these questions because I think there's a big confusion with this flex position. I think everyone's confused, and I'm going to try to explain this in English, okay? Which is not my strong point. Just calm it down. Now I'm going to do an autofill. Okay, let's do an autofill. I'm just going to make sure we don't save it. Okay, now autofill. What's come up? Let's have a look. Why isn't this working? I think autofill doesn't work. Okay, fill my team. Yeah, fill my team. All right, we're going to autofill now. Okay, now, and it's giving me the bond, which I'm very happy about. Now, take note. In the flex position, it puts the sick dog there, Sicily. Now, if you want to, you don't have to have a primo here. Okay, you can switch this with Smith. Doesn't have to be a primo. Doesn't have to be a high-scoring player. Okay, when it's your best 22 scores, if Smith scores the lowest, his score doesn't matter. It's out of the system. So your flex position doesn't have to be a gun. It can be anyone. All right, it can be However, with Smith here, you can't swap him with anyone but a defender because that's where his position is. So let's switch with Bustinger now, okay? Let's put Bustinger there, and now you got him there. But the point is, the flex is not designed for a primo or a rookie or anything. It's any player, okay? That's important. Now, the next question I got asked is, what kind of player should we put in there? Okay, now, what kind of player belongs in this flex spot? Well, for me, at flex, I don't know how to have Flinger on my team, okay? Well, what's he doing there? Let me just get rid of some of these players. For me, I like my Ruckman, okay? And I would like to put a Ruckman at flex. However, it doesn't mean that you have to do a Ruckman. It could be a midfielder, all right? You can put anyone. You can put Lockie Neal there, okay? Same thing. Are going to score the same. However, there's one thing to consider, and this doesn't necessarily mean it's a flex position, but the flex system, the system itself, is a different system which you need to understand. Okay, now I'm going to explain it to you now. Just wanted to clarify some questions that were asked before I go to my next point. Okay, now, and those questions were, let's say the sick dog scored a 60, okay, and the flex position player scored 61. Okay, the question was, because sick dog is in defense and the flex position is in the midfield, does that mean that he can't cover the sick dog? Does that mean that he only covers the midfield? The answer is no. He covers everybody. Okay, it doesn't matter which player or where they play. Whatever is the lowest score in your whole team gets taken out. It's like best 18. I just want you to understand that, because you don't have to put in a forward or a midfield or whatever. It could be any position, okay? Just got to understand that. Now, I just want to show you something now. Now, I'm going to use Joy Newcomb as an example, okay? I'm going to try to explain this as as clearly as I can, okay, without mumbling too much. Now, Joy Newcomb is the perfect player that fits not necessarily the flex spot, but the flex system, the whole system itself. He's the perfect example. Okay, let me show you why now, okay? Now, Joy Newcomb scores 66, 66, 84, 61, 67, all these bad scores, yeah? Then you got these monsters, okay? Now, let's say we go to your team. and your team is full primo. Okay, you got guns everywhere. Okay, this is after the bye rounds. You built a gun team. Okay, now the worst score drops off, but all your team are scoring so well. Some are going at 90s. Okay, but most of them are going maybe 110, 120. Now, what happens when you own a player like? Let's go to him. Okay, John Newcomb in your team. Okay, and I can't afford him. Okay, let's get rid of someone. Okay, what happens when you own a player like John Newcomb in your team, or even, okay, let me go to another player now. A player like from the Gold Coast. Let's go over here. Okay, Noah Anderson. Okay, what happens when you own these kind of players? Okay, now let me explain it. You're gonna freak out. Okay, let me show you. Now on John Newcomb, average last year, it says he had 98. Yes, he did average that. Okay, there is no doubt because it's all here. It's all the evidence is here. He averaged that. But the question is, what does he average in your team? Okay, because when you've got a low score like 66 taken out, that score's not in your team. So you don't count that as what he averaged for your team because he didn't score that week for your team. So, for example, if we use the score of 90 as the low point, all right, because we're saying that our team is that good that all our players can go at 90s, all right? So what does John Newcomb average if you take out everything that's under 90? Okay, let's have a look. Now, this is... Where is he? Okay, John Newcomb. This is why ceiling players are so important, especially when they're cheap, because they have ceiling and they have huge floors. But that huge floor, when it's best 18 or best 21 or best 22, it makes a big difference, okay, because his score gets taken out. So, for example, we're going to take out all his scores under 90 last year, okay, and that's nearly all his scores. No, just one sec, hang on. We're going to count all his scores over 90, all right, all his scores over 90. Now, keep in mind, you've got rookies playing as well, so he's probably better off to get towards the back half of the year, not to start with, if he's going to start with 60s. Because you want him to go 60s when you've got a full primo team. Because it doesn't matter then, because his score gets wiped out. But if he goes 60s and you still got rookies on the field, then his score counts, so that's a problem. So, even though I'm counting these scores here, I should be counting after round 14, to be honest, but I'm just counting his whole scores as an average, what he scores without his low scores. Okay, so let's go all the way. We're at 20. We're nearly at the end. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now he's averaging 116. If you take out all his low scores. Now average of 116 is decent. It's actually very good. Okay, it's probably top 4 midfielder. Now let's go look at another player. We're gonna take a look at Noah Anderson now. Okay, let's take out all his scores that are below 90. Okay. And what does he average? See, the problem with Noah Anderson is he gets a lot of scores in the 90s, all right? So that actually doesn't work for him. He does have a good ceiling, but it's actually not working for him. Well, actually, it does. He's got 50s here. Okay, let's have a look anyway. All these scores here. So, actually, he does still get a good average because he's got such a bad floor, okay? And we've got the last game here, 2024. Okay. We don't count round 0, all right? But he's averaging 120. Okay, Noah Anderson. Now, if you take these bad scores out, what's Noah Anderson averaging? Let's have a look. Well, he averages 106 with his low scores, and 120 with his low scores taken out. Now, that doesn't happen to all the players. Like if you do that to the Bont, you can't do it. All right, the Bont. Because he always scores high, and that's why you're paying top dollar for the Bont. Like, for example, if we go to the Bont, okay, the Bont costs 680k, and Newcomb costs 529k. In your team, you do need the Bont, okay, because you need someone to always go at 120. But Noah Anderson is 100k cheaper than Bont and going the same average when you take his low scores out. So you get him for 100k cheaper, but he's a good player to have, okay, using this system because I take one score out. If you could have a player like Anderson and possibly Newcomb, all right, as your what's it called? As your loop, okay, to later on after the bye rounds, okay, and the extra cash. Find some players, have 20. Well, you need 24 primos to do this, but this is the perfect weapon. These two in your team. end game team, you would love to have two players in your team, like an Anderson or a Newcomb, just two of them, so one on the bench, okay, one on field, that can go nuts, okay, and or they can go bad, but their bad score doesn't count. This is a perfect system. This system is built for these two type of players. The next best thing is the rucks, and I've already explained it to you in the past. It suits the rucks even more, okay, because of their huge ceilings and low floors. That's why I want to start free rucks more than I want to start with Newcomb, and because their floors are a lot lower than what the rucks are, and the ceiling is about the same height. So I might as well go for the ruck. Now I'm going to go to Max Gawn. Okay, now here's a perfect example of why I want Ruckman. Okay, now he can score a 72. Okay, which can drop out of a system. They can score a 162 and a 177, a 162, a 180. These are the players that win you premierships in our Supercoach, because players with ceilings, these ceilings don't come very often from most players unless they're ruckman, and there's a few of them around. Okay, I mean, you go to Melbourne, you can even go to let's even go to Freo, okay, and look at Shrek. Now, this is Shrek's 2021 year. Just to give you an example of what he can do, all right? He can score an 83. That will be out of your team, but then he can score a 140, a 146. This is the strong Shrek that we had back then, okay? He's lost weight since, but like a 90 followed by a 193. This 90 probably drops out of your team, but the 193 doesn't. So these are the scores you want when you got this new system. You want players that have ceilings. That's why I love the ruckman, because their lows are low, but their highs are massive. There's more. Okay, they're pretty much, and then there's the consistent ones. Okay, there's ones like Tim English, for example. His ceiling isn't that high, but he's just consistent. Okay, let's have a look. Tim English. Going to go to the previous year, not last year, because last year there was too much complications. Okay, let's go to the previous year of Tim English when he averaged the 128. All right, 2023. You can see here, there's one or two ceiling goes, but most of the things here are consistently scoring high. All right, that's what Tim English does. Okay, especially when he gets more ruck time. You can go to Richmond and go to the Nank. Okay, and it's all the same. They're all the same thing. Let's go to Nank last year. Okay, have a look here. Okay, 2024, the Nank. Okay, look at his run home. Okay, he's got a 58. I think he got injured that game, but he's got a 159, a 121, a 144. They're not as big as the other ones you saw, but they're still high ceiling games. And these are the games you want, okay? And this was a 500k player. He just turned it around. I don't know what happened, but he went bananas, okay? That's what happened. So my point that I wanted to stress to you was, it doesn't matter where you're. Let's put John Newcomb here, okay? Doesn't matter where you put. Let's say, for example, John Newcomb is the player you want to put in this flex spot. You don't have to put him there. You can put anyone, okay? He's still doing the same job here as he's doing. What have I pressed? He's doing the same job he's in the midfield as he's doing in the flex spot. It doesn't make it. It's just a name. Flex is just a name. It's just a spot. It doesn't mean nothing. It just means he can have an extra player from any position. But doesn't mean that if you put Newcomb from there to here, that he's going to score you more points or his points add up. It's no difference. So you can just leave him over there. It's the same thing. I hope this all made sense, because after watching this, I don't know if I made any sense or not, so I'm very confused myself, but I think I made some sense. Anyway, I hope this helped. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining, and remember one thing. It's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.